Boyzone had all of the top hits on the charts. With that iconic
I showed you love, you wanted more.
boy band appeal from the 1990s with a brand new documentary revealing everything. Secrets, the true query is, how did it happen? All went horribly wrong, as most people believe, boy. Lewis Walsh was the creator of Zone, but surprisingly, the true mastermind wasn't. Was Mark Walton, a teenage kid from Donegal, Dublin during his school years. Mark and Shane Lynch, a friend, had this insane desire to form a male band and they brought the concept directly to Lewis. Walsh was already in charge of Irish club performers as well as a few Eurovision. Louis wasn't searching for winners, but he wanted a lad, but he was just another local act. A band that has the potential to take the globe by storm. It was difficult to locate the other members of the band. Lewis ran advertisements in Irish newspapers, requesting young males with singing abilities. Dance and look amazing, let's face it, on a poster, the attendance was huge, with hundreds of men arrived with the hopes of becoming the next big thing. Heartthrob, and following several rounds of auditions, the initial lineup of Boyzone was Seth Ronan, Keading, Shane Lynch at last, Mark Walton, Keith Duffy, and Stephen Gately, as well as Richie Rock and That Boy. Zone was created at the dance. However, before to even releasing a song they created for their very first TV appearance, and boy, did things not turn out as prepared. Before anyone was even aware of their Boyzone was featured on Artista. This should have been the Late Late Show, their big moment, but it ended up join a boy band that is among the most embarrassing debuts, wearing clothing from the heyday of the 1990s. Bad haircuts, unbuttoned shirts, and the entire they did a dance at the last minute. Burn baby burn routine, and let's simply say the moves were clumsy and it was difficult. The energy was everywhere, and it was all just cringe-worthy. Lewis Walsh even acknowledged afterwards that it was a complete catastrophe, yet in some way of destroying them, it sparked conversation. Boyzone wasn't yet well known, and Mark was the first to start the drama. Walton, the individual who actually initiated the after the band was kicked out, Richie Rock received dismissed for failing to attend rehearsals and performances, and suddenly the ensemble was down to just 4 people, yet they didn't remain that way for a long time. Then enter Mikey Graham, who didn't initially make the rejected at auditions but given another opportunity. Mikey was on after Richie left. Bored, the ultimate lineup for Boone was now established. This is the actual workplace of Lewis Walsh. His magic was not limited to managing Boyzone. He had a secret and made them famous. Weapon rumors, Louis was aware that maintaining in the news, Boyzone was exactly as crucial as their songs, so what did he? Does he simply spread false information to? One of his favorite ploys is the tabloids, circulating false information about the band members, courting famous people, such as when he revealed Stephen Gately's romantic relationship. Baby Spice, and you know what, it was successful. Zone posters appeared all of a sudden. Publications, TV shows, interviews, you name it, and in a few years, they emerged as one of the world's largest boy bands. However, that didn't happen all at once. Back in they were playing hard in 1994. In northern pubs and clubs. Ireland is hoping that someone would notice. And that year, someone at last did. Negotiated a contract with Polygram, their The initial official release was a reprint of Working My Way Back is a hit across the 4 seasons. To You. Sorry, the Globe wasn't exactly rocked by it. However, it did reach number 3 in the Irish charts are fairly stable for a number of young men before their actual breakthrough. There's a Reason You Love Me. Boyzone's original Osmond classic. December 1994 saw the release of the version and received a significant boost when they carried it out. It's just on the Smash Hits Roadshow. The lyrics of the song soared to top 2 in the UK charts exclusively, losing out on first place because Stay Another Day, a Christmas hit by E17. Boyzone had refused to change by 1995. Such momentum that in August they released their first album titled Said and Done. And it immediately became the number 1 winner in. The album featured both Ireland and the UK. Early hits that they loved the most includes Key to My Life and Excellent, which both peaked at number 3 on the charts in the UK, and Cat Stevens, A Father and Son, which peaked at number 2 in the United Kingdom. Father, may I try to explain an interesting fact? In reality, Son was Ronan Keating's song, tried out for when he initially joined the. It's safe to say that it was successful for him. However, things weren't always easy in 1995. Mickey Graham fell off a horse quite badly, hurting his spine and neck as Shane Lynch had a strange ankle break accident when crossing a brook to get a basketball because of their injuries. Boyzone should modify their UK tour, but persevered and ended the year with a high. Despite this, they were named the best new act at the Party. Boyzone's Smash Hits poll winners began 1996 by winning a Brit Award nomination for the finest international new beat, but the tabloids went crazy after that. It was revealed that Mikey Graham and the girlfriends of Keith Duffy were expecting. And there were speculations that Boyzone was completed since, of course, it couldn't have been farther distant from reality rather than of splitting up. They demonstrated that everyone incorrect by removing another number 1 album. A New Rhythm was released in selling more than 2 million in November 1996. Copies all over the world, which provided them with their UK's first ever number 1 single featuring their rendition of the iconic lyrics of the Bee Gees. Additional album favorites that fans adore included an alternative beat and Isn't It A? As well as to conclude the year, they cleaned up completely at the Smash Hits Party with the polls winning 6. By 1998, Boyzone's accolades weren't only enormous. They had formally left the UK. Where We Belong, their third album worldwide, displayed their own compositions, demonstrating they were no longer only about covers. And the figures were completely out of control. More than 3 million copies of the record were sold. It included some of their greatest hits, such as All That I Need, was aired on MTV for 6 weeks. Yes, Asia Maps, Baby, May I Hold You? Can I Hold You Tonight, Baby, and No. Whatever. And Nevertheless, that song was a huge hit that was first composed for music by Andrew Lloyd Webber, Whistle. It sold more than 4 million copies of Down the Wind copies globally, making it the largest boy band's best-selling single ever at the. It even took home the Song of the Year award in. By 1999, Boyzone had taken over the world. Their greatest hits album, which they are requesting to be purchased, flew off the shelves, selling more than 4 countless copies, including tunes such as When the Things Get Hard, You Needed Me, and I Love You Every Day were taking over the charts, You Required. However, even if the success was enormous, behind the scenes, things were becoming difficult. Notably following Ronan Keating's solo career. Stephen Gately at about the same period. Fans were astonished when he came out as gay and disclosing his connection to Eloida, a former member of Caught in the Heart, John. Act in light of Boyzone's enormous appeal to many members of the gay community welcomed the news. However, not everyone responded favorably before he revealed that Stephen had previously rejected the notion of using a UG to kiss a guy during an interview, and some admirers accepted it in person at a gay nightclub in London, where the audience was entertained by Boyzone. Actually flung their boys at him and jeered at him. Wearing your own t-shirts on stage was difficult moment, but he eventually turned into a LQBI plus symbol and was allowed to live at last. Ronan was writing while he spoke his truth. High on his hit-dropping solo success. Hits such as, Life is a Roller Coaster. Life is a Wild Ride. And In the Event That Tomorrow Does Not Arrive. But as he was dominating the charts, Stephen Keith and the other members of the Boyzone, Shane and Mikey, were left wondering whether the band would ever return. Initially, they hoped Ronan would come back, however he clarified in 2003 that he didn't intend to get back together with Boyzone. And the band abruptly stopped playing. Separated, not in a dramatic way, but with a gradual, annoying decline by 2007. Boone's nostalgia had taken over. Decided to try it again. What began as a straightforward reunion tour and swiftly evolved into a complete resurgence, although they were just getting into their stride. On October 10, heartbreak struck once more. 2009 saw the unexpected death of Stephen Gately. During a trip to Morca, it was later showed that his heart was congenital flaw, and his untimely passing caused his devastated and determined bandmates and admirers pushed forward in honor of Stephen Boyzone with their upcoming album, Brother, which they were issued ahead of schedule in March of 2010. The 2 tracks on the CD that Stephen had prior to his death, a love song, was recorded. It was a letter to their deceased sibling. Immediately to the top of both Ireland's and hundreds of thousands sold in the UK. Boyzone continued for a few copies, even commemorating their 25th anniversary commemoration with a 2018 tour. They published Good Night, Thank You, and album including compositions by Sam Smith. Ed Sheeran and I Are Not the Only Ones. Ideal. Providing a new update to their sound, but boy, they all knew the truth at this time. Without Stephen, Zone simply wasn't the same. There were talks about a potential 30th 2023 anniversary reunion, but Ronan Keating quickly shut them down, stating that without Stephen, there wouldn't have been a Boyzone. The band that dominated the 1990s formally said farewell after the music slowed down and engaged in some crazy and surprising twists, some of which even higher altitudes in which some found comfort. Calmer lives, and one was sadly, if there was only one boy, taken far too soon. Person who preserved the pop star's fantasy. Ronan Keating was there, with more than 20. Sold millions of albums globally, smashing popular songs such as Life is a Roller Coaster and When You Don't Say Anything, and a career in which he was appointed a judge on The Voice and X Factor Australia. 48, emerged as the group's most successful member. He Even tried his hand at acting. Participating in the war theater this 2017's Mother's Son. Singing in class. With all these different things, you are Joseph. Revenue streams for Ronan Keating's net. The estimated value is approximately $35 million, or roughly £45 million, but his private life was likewise turbulent. Coaster in 1998, he wed Yvonne Connolly. Had 3 children before getting divorced in a big way. 2010, nevertheless, love returned in the Storm Actitz, a TV producer, who he 2015 saw them get married, and their son Cooper was. Keith Duffy was born in 2017 and is currently 50 years old. Older people never faded into the background. He headed to the Boyzone. Immediately into acting, securing a part as Ciaran McCarthy looked good on Coronation Street. Who requires you illuminate the space where he is with candles? Remain from 2002 and 2005 prior to making a return in 2010, he also appeared in When Mrs. Brown's Boys Die in the film Heaven. Fair City, you need a handsome man. A candidate like me for this kind of work. Additionally, he founded the supergroup Boys. Life with Brian, a former member of Westlife. McFadden's enormous £9 is no surprise. Million, or £11 million, in net wealth. Also made a brief appearance on reality TV, but throughout everything, his heart remained with his spouse, Lisa Smith, was born in a 1998 ceremony in Vegas featuring Ronan as. They have 2 children united with their best man. I don't play, but Shane Lynch always had energy and it followed him according to the regulations. He was once well into his post-boy years. Acknowledged that when he was in the at midday, he would begin drinking with the band and continued drinking until dusk. To dull his emotions, but following the music. Stopped Shane, changed who he was, and went going into full-on reality TV mode on circulating Celebrity Love Island. He is both a celebrity and a celebrity big brother. Even rose to the position of judge on the All-Ireland Talent. It's no surprise that he's been able to build a net worth of £12 million. About $15 million from the cameras. The 48-year-old discovered contentment with Sheena White, his spouse, and they have Mikey Graham has 2 daughters together. Never yearned for attention like some people with fellow musicians, but when he did enter, he made it matter by making it to the finals of the Eurovision selection show for Ireland in. Participated on Celebrity Apprentice in 2010. Ireland in 2013, and even spent some time there. After losing Stephen Mikey, Dancing on Ice. He said the show helped him deal with due to the 52-year-old sadness. 2004 saw Karen Karate, and they have a together with his daughter, while he's primarily avoided being featured in the tabloids. Appears from time to time to remind us that he's I still have those Boone pipes, Mickey. Valued about $5 million, or £4 million. Stephen Gately was the brilliant millionaire. His voice, his enthusiasm, the spark in the Boyzone. His contagious smile, but the catastrophe of 2009 struck Stephen, who was only 33 years old. Died in Majorca as a result of his death due to an undiagnosed cardiac ailment. Stunned followers around the world, creating a gap in the Boyzone that was never able to be occupied. A 33-year-old singer from the Boyzone was discovered deceased yesterday following an evening spent on the island of Morca in Spain prior to his. Stephen has delved into solo music after passing away. achieving success in 2000 with New Beginning. He was well known in musical theater as well, appearing in the film Joseph, Dreamcoat in Technicolor, and even popped up in Totally Amazing. Steven had a creative spirit to the extent that he even authored a book for kids called The Tree of Seasons, which came out following his Elton John's Forward to Death and previously, David Furnish was the We all recall two other five-man groups. Richard, members were in the mix for a short while. Richard Rock and Mark Walton Rock were by, according to all accounts, the man in the beginning. He went so far as to say that he was Boyzone's prior to Ronan, the previous frontman, but his Wicked Boy's unpredictable actions and addiction issues didn't coincide with the group's immaculate appearance, so after being fired by management, he worked as a songwriter and DJ, but never returned to his previous glory. Mark Walton nonetheless discreetly quit the organization and later amassed a fortune by founding Fifth Avenue, a business that collaborated with celebrities such as Enrique and Jennifer Lopez. Iglesias even rose to the position of judge on Vietnam Idol and garnered media attention in 2016, declaring that he was now a billionaire. He maintains that he never ever set out to do if you believed you knew. Rethink everything about the boys. At last, the boys are revealing the truth. In the recently released documentary, Boy. Regardless, Zone, and let's just say, after 30, it's not all sugar and spice. Years, I believe it's time to speak regarding her. And guess who is appearing to agitate the Lewis, their estranged ex-manager. Lewis Walsh is the same Walsh who also developed Westlife, and let's simply assert that there is still love between him and his previous trainees from the Ronan Keating. The gloves are off in the trailer is headed for Lewis, their former manager. Walsh claims he is propagating hate, slanderous rumors about him in the media. And Lewis, he's not going to accept that deception. Dropped a nasty little jab at his reaction. They thought that their own PR. I forgot that I had written it, and the pettiness. The band acknowledged their time spent working for Lewis. In actuality, Walsh wasn't always easy sailing. Some of it was described as blatantly harsh. During Boone's absence, Walsh abandoned them to oversee the solo career of Ronan Keat. However, their 2009 breakup wasn't precisely. By 2012, Walsh was openly friendly, calling Ronan untalented and hauling him and pampered. He hasn't needed to set any records. How long has it been since I left, exactly? Additionally, Keith Duffy said that Walsh's constant criticism broke his heart, self-assurance, and made him feel inconspicuous. He even asserted that he was in the band, never given the opportunity to display his own voice. Therefore it's understandable that there is still resentment.